Good evening. I thought you'd all appreciate a 15-second quick intro rather than a 4.5 minute one. Just think how many goals Tottenham could concede in 4.5 minutes, Perchy. So
we
many
actually
goals.
did count this last time. It's horrendous. It's not even a joke this time.
Think how many last-minute winners Liverpool could score against Spurs in 4.5 minutes as well. So,
think how many people Forest could sign in that time.
I was gonna say, yeah. In the last 15 minutes, Forest have signed their fourth signing of the summer, and it's not the transfer window is not even open yet. Anyway, good evening, Tom Little from the Liverpool variety. How are we, sir? You good?
I'm all good, mate. I'm all good. It's actually pleasant to be here and not be moaning about my midfield for once.
Well, yeah, we'll get into that, but it looks like you're signing a lot of players. Listen, very, very jealous at this stage, but we'll come back
Only
to that.
Only 4 years too late.
Mate, listen. Trust me. Unless you've had the last 5 years Spurs have had, right? In that time, you've won a league, a Champions League, about 5 cups. Just come on. On that note, Dave, Tom Little's great granddad from across the way in Nottingham. How are you, Dave? Are you okay?
I am okay, Sav, but obviously today is a very, very troubling and somber day for the city that's dearest to my heart. And it's what's happened in Nottingham. And for myself, as an alumnus of the University of Nottingham, it's been very, very sad today. So if anybody is watching, either from Nottingham or who has a connection with the amazing and beautiful city of Nottingham, I just want to send all my kindness and sympathy out to anybody who's watching. So it kind of colours everything I'm thinking today, Sab, to be honest. So it's a somber day.
Yeah, absolutely. Our thoughts go to everyone in Nottingham, everyone affected, families and stuff. Well said, Dave. Well said. And Perchy, moving over to you over there in Barcelona, just outside of Barcelona, wherever you live.
Barcelona City, my friend.
All right.
In the city. Yeah, no, I'm all good, mate. I'm all good.
Good. Well, this isn't a show about Spurs, which is nice. It's a bit of a change.
Already, we can carry on with other stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be doing that all tomorrow when I get all serious in my 2-hour morning rants. You laugh, it's true. Hello to everyone in the chat. If you do want to ask a question to be insured for it to be read out, put it in a super chat. If not, just put a capital Q, then ask the question. If I don't read it out immediately, please don't think I've ignored it. I will save them back there, and we will answer any questions. But they don't have to be about any one thing. Make it about football. I think let's stick with football. I think that's probably the best way to go. Yeah. But if you want to know about anyone's club, our thoughts on any potential signings this season, next season, whatever, whack it in there. We'll answer the questions. And look, let's start, guys. It's I don't know about you guys. It feels like, and I don't know if this is just me being recency bias, as people say, it really feels like the transfer market, although it's not open until tomorrow, it feels like there is so much going on very, very quickly. And I don't feel like this has happened before. Am I just getting old and forgetting things? Or is that the way you guys see it? Is that what's going on?
I think, do you know what it is? I think it's happened before, but what it hasn't happened before is so many big names moving. Does that make sense? So I think all this stuff has happened before, but we're seeing the likes of Benzema going, Messi going, Kante going. Do you know what I mean? We're seeing all these sort of massive names moving, and the transfer window's not even opened, and we're going, whoa, what the hell's going on here? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, Tom, your team have been one of those clubs active already with, I think you've had 5 or 6 of your first team squad went. And so far you've brought in McAllister. It looks like you've got bids going in for, is it Thuram and Kone? I mean, you said off stage. That's not a thing. You said backstage, 4 years too late. But you surely, as a club that needed a revamp in midfield, McAllister's a good start to that, right?
It's incredible for the price you've got him for as well. Oh,
yeah.
35 million for a player of his quality, like. Albeit, I was impressed when he played against us this season, but I've been impressed by a lot of midfielders who have played against us this season because it's not hard to be very good against our midfield this season. But McAllister, I mean, he gets goals. He was fantastic for Argentina in the World Cup. 35 million. It's a proper old school Liverpool sign. It's one of them ones which people look back on and go,
Smart signing. Agreed.
So
yeah, I think it's just an old school signing in general, Tom, right? I mean, nowadays, every time you pick up, I was going to say newspapers, that is old school. I think, and now every time you see a report coming around on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook, whatever, it's this player is going to set this club back 70 million, 80 million. So to get McAllister at 35 million when you've got his midfield partner being fought over on 85 million. It's madness.
Like, less than half his price. And I think Caicedo was better. I'm not going to sit there and lie and say Caicedo isn't a better player, but I really don't think the gap is that major. It's certainly not over double half the price. So that is a really good deal. If you can get Thuram over the line, if you can get Kone over the line, all of a sudden the midfield's looking a lot better. Not just because we've got better players in there, but the ones that we have now that still can have an impact, I look at and go, well, I can actually manage you properly. I don't need to bring out Thiago for 20 games in a row because I've got no other midfielders. I can use the man for his intended purpose of just coming on in big games, controlling tempo for like 20 minutes. Like, we've ran Thiago into the ground, so hopefully these signings can be a shift of dynamic to allow these older midfielders who still have a bit of quality to manage the minutes better. But it is a bit too late. It really is a bit too late from us because we're now playing catch up on 2 to 3 windows worth of cutting corners and delaying and just deciding, no, not this time, not this time. So we're playing catch up and we won't solve all the issues in one window. Maybe in 2 or 3, we have caught up and we're like, right, okay, there's no problems now. But we are going to be playing catch up this window. We might get 3 midfielders in, but then we probably won't get a centre back in. And we do really need to start looking at centre back as well because Gomez and Matip aren't really as reliable as they were. So I don't think next year is when you're really going to see everything click into gear for us. I think the year after, 24, 25, I think I'm right with that one. That's the one where I'm going, right, I need to see something now. I need to see back to titles, back to Champions Leagues.
Yeah. I mean, look. As I said to you, backstage, when you're talking about 4 years too late, I mean, I get it from a Liverpool perspective. I mean, I wish Spurs had the last 5 years that Liverpool had. I think Perchie will probably agree with me on that. And just to set the record straight, I don't feel I look that much like Alexis McAllister. And if we are going to go down that route, I've got about 15 years on Alexis McAllister. If anything, he looks like me, right? He looks like me. All right, let's not go down that route. I mean, yeah, but look, I mean, Dave, Liverpool made signing. You guys have, if I'm not wrong, you've got Henderson in through the door already. Is that done and dusted?
It looks like it's heading that way, Sav. But if I can just return to my grandson up there, my great nephew.
Yeah, sure.
Like,
go for it. Let's put you next to him.
Yeah, there you go. I tell you what, though, he looks even better next to me, doesn't he? Bless him.
Yeah, he does.
So what I would say,
it's uncanny. It's uncanny.
It is, isn't it? It is. In fact, everybody looks better next to me. Everybody's Errol Flynn next to me. Anyway, listen, what I would say, just going back to this McAllister signing, bizarrely enough, it might end up being that by the time the window shuts, we might all come round to the thinking that the very best signing made in this entire period of, 2 or 3 months might be that one. Because as Thomas alluded to, the price is excellent for what you're getting.
Yeah.
He's a World Cup winner. He's an excellent player under pressure. He's a big game guy. I remember the penalty he scored against Manchester United in injury time. He didn't bat an eyelid. He's a tremendous player. And it reminds me, the signing of Alexis reminds me of those days back in the 70s when Shanks and Bob Paisley would pick up fantastic signings to bring them. The one that springs to mind is when Liverpool signed Graham Souness, and he took them to another level. Souness was a good player at Middlesbrough, but then as soon as he got with, I think it was with Bob and the boot room, he became a great player. Souness, a truly great player. And this lad strikes me as being a similar sort of caliber and category. I just really like it. I mean, funnily enough, the only time I've seen him not play well was at our place when we won 3-1. But what I put that down to, lad was still knackered from running over every blade of grass at Wembley in the semi-final of the preceding Sunday. So I think it's a fantastic signing for Liverpool. I really like. Yeah. I think it's a sign of any of us, Tottenham, the big guns, and ourselves, in that cluster at the bottom. We'd love to have a guy like that. But with regards to us, the beauty is, and I was just sat here thinking, Tom's lot are on the way. PSG are doing all sorts of stuff, and I'm thinking, Forest, right? It's like they've shut up shop and gone on holiday because there's nothing happening. The Henderson deal, I think Dean wants it to happen. Manchester United don't want him back because he burnt bridges in an interview last year. I mean, yeah. Dean was in the changing room after we beat Arsenal to stay up, waving his crutches in the air. And if somebody said he's a Manchester United player, he said, "Don't be silly." So I do think it will happen. I think it's a good deal for us, a good deal for Dean, and a good deal for United. But with regards to Forest, it's like somebody's locked the door and they've all gone away. All they've done, they've announced 3 friendlies. They play Notts County, as they always do, PSV Eindhoven and Eintracht Frankfurt, I think. And nobody's doing anything. I actually really enjoying the Nottingham Forest silence because this time last year, we were being talked about far too much. So,
in all honesty, Dave, you could just take last summer's transfer window and spread that over the next decade for how many players that you've signed. It's like the kid who gets an Xbox and a PlayStation together last Christmas, and then this Christmas he only gets like a set of Lynx aftershave and deodorant. I mean, very true. Perchy, by the way, there are questions going in. I am not ignoring them. I am saving them up. Please smash the likes, people. There's 170 of you, only 40 likes. Come on, let's get that to 100 ASAP. And please keep subscribing. Subscribe to Perchy TV. He is on his way to the 1,000. Please subscribe. I am just over 85 away from the 6K mark. So please do that. Please subscribe. Tom, you've got a YouTube channel, haven't you, my man?
Yes, and it will pick up speed in July once I've got through settling into this new job and then off on holiday with my missus. July should be back on focus.
Perfect. Love that.
Priorities, dear boy.
Do you want to tell anyone what it is so that they can subscribe?
You know what, Savva, you might be on something there that might be worth it. It's Tom Little, but with a 1 instead of the I, because apparently there's someone famous with Tom Little. Don't know who.
Yeah. Some bloke called Tom. Yeah, okay. Listen, go and subscribe to Tom. Go and subscribe to Perchy as well. Please subscribe to me. Let's get to 6K as quickly as possible. Perchy, Spurs. We're in the conversation for a signing at the moment. It's all very exciting. We haven't had a new number 1 goalkeeper for over a decade.
Yes, 10 years. It would have been
10 years. Lloris has been, if I was to say declining in the last few years, I think that would be polite.
Very polite.
Is David Raya that man? Because again, it seems like anything that happens, and Tom, you'll find this out, Dave, you'll find this out if you don't know already, anything that happens at Spurs, there is this massive divide. I have not seen a single thing happen at Spurs where we all go, that is brilliant. Like there's nothing. David Raya is dividing the fan base yet again, Perchy. Some people don't want him. Some people think 40 million is too much for a 27-year-old number 1 goalkeeper who is homegrown, by the way. Don't be fooled by the name. What do you think? David Raya, a good number 1 for Spurs if we get it over the line?
David Raya, I think, I'll be honest, I'm really excited because it looks like it looks like it's going to happen. I think we're very much just waiting on the fee that's going to be agreed and stuff. And I think it'll probably be done and dusted by the end of the week. I mean, this is Tottenham, by the way, so it could end up by about deadline day. I mean, this is the sort of thing that we do because we want to haggle down as much. For me, I'm very much on the same basis with you on this, is the sense of let's just get it done before pre-season. Get the new number 1 in. Then we can then deal with whatever we do with... Sorry, that was a good comment. Get that all dealt with, and then that way we can deal with Hugo Lloris if it means he's staying for 1 more year, or we're getting rid of him, or we release him, or whatever. Then we just get that the best thing for me at the moment is we have our new number one who will be starting, and he walks in the door on day one. None of this in the middle of preseason. He turns up to Australia in the middle of it because we finally got it done. The terms were agreed yesterday with the player, which you think right now that we'll get that done. And all the people that are sort of against the sort of David Raya one think that we can go get someone better. For me, I think he's the right person for what we need right now. I think he suits the system.
I'm going to say it. You are stupid, according to this comment. You're stupid, Perchy. I must be as well, by the way. Raya is so bad. No, hang on. Let me try and get this grammatically correct. Raya is so bad, man. Honestly, I feel like there should be a comment in there. This is how I know our fan base is stupid. We get excited about anything we can't get Manyan. So I think this is one of those fans, Perchy, that if you get Raya, it's bad because Mike Maignan, one of the best goalkeepers in the world, should apparently be saying, I know, I want my next destination to be Tottenham Hotspur Football Club.
Do you want to? I just want to answer this. How many goals did David Raya concede this season? Simple question. Brentford,
I'll find out for you.
Go and find out. Because my point being is,
all right.
No, not you. Sorry, not you. I was carrying on with what was being said.
Very demanding.
46 goals. He conceded. Okay. They conceded three less than both Man United, 3 more than both Man United and Arsenal.
Yeah, and they were the best. I know. I think Man City were the best defensive, and they were the second
with best. Newcastle. Man City, Newcastle.
Yeah, Man City, Newcastle. Sorry. So what we're talking about, we're talking about in a team that massively overachieved, and it just shows defensively. The keeper, yes, I mean there are statistics to say that he'd maybe not be amazing on long shots, but I think we have to be realistic here. People going, we can just go in and sign Maignan from AC Milan. The player may not want to come to Tottenham. Do people not think that? Why would a player like that go, do you know what? I'm going to take a massive step down and go to Tottenham right now because AC Milan are up here compared to Tottenham.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? It's interesting. I mean, Tom, let me come to you on this. I mean, look, Mike Maignan, top goalkeeper. I think everyone with eyes would agree on that, right? I think he's a brilliant goalkeeper, the AC Milan guy. He's got bigger fish to fry than the likes of Tottenham, hasn't he? Surely if Maignan goes, that's a Bayern Munich, that's a Barcelona, a Man United, a Man City type signing, isn't it? A Chelsea. It's not. Is that Tottenham? Should we be going for him?
I think your boat to go for Maignan was 2 years ago. Now he's developed beyond. When I look at David Raya, the thing is, having Alisson Becker has made me start to look more into advanced goalkeeper metrics because it gives me happiness because he tops them all. And David Raya is one of the most polarizing goalkeepers in that. Give him a shot inside the 18-yard box, he's immense. He's honestly, I think he's like one of the top 5 goalkeepers in the league for shots saved from inside the box. Yeah. Give him a shot from outside the box, he apparently just forgets how to save sometimes. Him and Kepa like a top 2 for goals conceded from outside the box.
Yeah.
So basically, David Raya is a very good goalkeeper if you can force your opposition to have good chances.
Yeah,
that's what the advanced metrics will try and tell you. I think he's a good goalkeeper.
What was that?
What is that? What is that noise? Has someone got like a tumble dryer going, or is there something?
Just getting into flow.
I live on the high street. I'm really sorry, lads.
Oh, that's actually, all right. It's a window.
Or it might actually. Don't be fooled. This is a box under a motorway bridge somewhere. You know what I mean?
No worries. I just wonder what it was because it just hit my headphones. I was like, "Whoa!"
Sorry, mate. Sorry.
No.
Like you're gargling, Savva.
You'll get pardon the pun. You'll get the tongues wagging if you want to talk about gargling. Won't you? If anyone must know, I brushed my teeth before the show started. I always do. Then I had some mouthwash and I gargled it, and apparently my microphone picked it up. And my bathroom is I was going to say miles away. I don't live in a mansion. My bathroom is
a massive house.
Like anyway, sorry, Tom. As you were, so you were talking about limiting shots. Is that what you were saying?
Basically, I like David Raya. I think he's a good goalkeeper, and I think he's the level that you're at now. But my question mark would be, are you going to give him the defence in front of him? Because it's all well and good signing a new goalkeeper, and he will be. I've never been a big fan of Hugo Lloris. I've always just thought he had too many mistakes in him. I think David Raya is able to cut down on a couple of those. But if you're giving him Eric Dyer in front of him, you will not see improvements. If you're giving him Ben Davies at left centre back, you are not going to see improvements.
Yeah, for sure.
No, I get that.
You can't. You have the best way I can describe it. You've got a wall, and you've got one hole covered up really well with Christian Romero. Then you've got 3 massive gaping holes in terms of your 2 other centre backs and your keeper. You are better off, if it comes down to it, covering up 3 holes better, averagely, than covering up 1 really well and leaving the other 2 open still. You have to address all the issues, because you can't keep letting it fester and fester, because you're just going to keep closing the window for these players. And I don't know what's going on with that new Eric Dyer contract. Is he actually still getting it?
Listen, I'm just trying to put that to the back of my mind that he's not going to get that. I can't see that. The only way I see him staying, and this is the only way I see, and we're going to move on from Spurs in a bit. By the way, if anyone's saying not everyone on this panel is a Spurs fan, by the way, let's just get that out there right now. I just think the only thing that I think will save him, I don't know if anyone agrees, will be the fact that we need to get rid of so many in the window.
Who is this, sorry?
Eric Dyer. I just think we need to get rid of so many. Some of them will have to stay. I made the point, because Eric Dyer's got 1 year left on his contract. I have more of a feeling that he stays. I know Spurs fans will hate to hear it, but I think what you're saying is right. He will stay, and then we'll just get rid of him at the end of his contract. He's not going to get a new contract, but I think that's what's going to be. I think he'll just, out of proxy, he'll end up staying. Not because he deserves to, but let's be honest. For a player with 1 year left on his contract, he might as well just sit and rot on the bench until the end of the end of his career at Spurs. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, look, there's some interesting stats there about save percentages. I mean, I always find it difficult, guys. I'll be honest with different goalkeeper stats, because I think, to Tom's point, it all depends who's in front of you, how well do they close down long shots, how easily do they allow headers in the box, how bad or good are they at defending set pieces. I think there's so much that goes to it. All I know is when I've seen Raya, I look at him and I think I'd be happy if he's my number 1. There are other people, like, for example, if I look at Melier of Leeds, I don't look at him and think that's who I want as my number 1. Do you know what I mean? I look at Raya and I think, yeah, you're solid. But I think the problem is, everyone, I think a lot of Tottenham fans turn their noses up at names if they're not the big names. And unfortunately, we're not that club anymore. But listen, I don't want to spend too much time on Tottenham. Tom, you said that I'll come to you in a second, Dave. But Tom, you said that Liverpool need a centre back. Who are you wanting? Who is a realistic target for Liverpool? And is this to play alongside Van Dijk, or is this back up to Van Dijk and Konate? What are you thinking?
The way I see it, we are going to stick with this new 3-box-3 thing that we were doing at the back end of last season. And for that, we need someone to replace Robertson, because Robertson isn't as good in that left centre-back, left-back hybrid thing than he does. He's too attack-minded, which isn't an issue. If we play a different formation, he still has a part to play. But as it stands with that system, he's the weak point in that defence. Realistic names for us, I have no idea, because we've been linked to about 5 different centre-backs. We've been told we don't want any of them. So I need someone who's left-footed, ideally, to play on the left. And there'll be about 30 to 40. There's a guy from Wolfsburg that apparently the club like. I like someone from Sporting. Inacio, I think he's got all the potential in the world to be a brilliant little centre-back. I would have taken Salisu from Southampton a couple of years ago, but I think he's...
Would you have like a Bella Kochak or someone like that? Young from...
I'd have Bella Kochak for the other side. I'd have Bella Kochak for the other side.
He's one of those young players. I saw... like when you see teams go down, you go, he looks like a player. He's in a bad team, but you can tell he's an all right player.
Yeah, he's showing a bad
team. He's what I would have had at Spurs. I said, he's a little sneaky buy you'd have. Definitely.
I don't think he'd be all that expensive. He's like 20,
I don't think
for a 21-year-old who's got international... I mean, he went to the World Cup. that's invaluable at this age. I think that's someone who will definitely get snapped up. But for that centre, we can't keep pushing the boat with the centre back thing, because all that's going to happen is we'll end up in the same situation we were in 3 years ago. It's ironic when you go through the situation, because with us it's just like a 5-year cycle of we solve the issue, we let it fester after solving it, and it begins to decline, and then we wait a year too long, and then it becomes a major issue again. So we need a left footer. We need a left footed centre back, whether that's Inacio, whether that's Van der Ven, I think his name is. Even an out there shout of I know it won't happen, but let a man dream. Aymeric Laporte. I'd love Aymeric Laporte.
Can I ask? Sorry, I might have missed everything. Can I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm.
Why? Sorry, I just ran downstairs. That shows I should be getting fitter. I've just lost nearly a stone, and I'm just knackered. Why would you not get Laporte? I understand why we wouldn't get him. Why do you think he wouldn't go to Liverpool?
Because I don't think he wants to stay in the Premier League. Personally, I think he wants to go back to Spain or something. If he wanted to stay in the Premier League, I'd be all over Aymeric Laporte, because I think he's a top centre back, and I think him, Van Dijk, and Konate would be ridiculous at the back.
See, my thoughts on Laporte is I think he's actually going to go. I think he's the sort of player that will end up going to PSG to replace Ramos. I think it would. I think that was my theory.
I get the feeling, guys. I mean, look, lots of basically to give you context, and again, obviously, being a Spurs channel, lots of Spurs information will come out. Lots of Spurs fans say, Tom and Dave, like Spurs, if they've got ambition, should go and get Laporte. And I'm very quick to point out that's great, but I don't think Laporte's got that ambition the other way to come and join Tottenham Hotspur. But I agree. I do agree with you, Tom. I think that he probably is looking at moving abroad. And if he's staying in England, I do think, though, that someone like a Newcastle playing alongside Sven Botman, even if I was Chelsea, I'd be looking at a cheeky little bid for him to be playing alongside Badashile or Fofana or whatever. But so interesting. But I mean, look, Liverpool are you confident, Tom, before we talk about Nottingham Forest, are you confident that after the dip you've had this year, the dip was finishing 5th and finishing really strongly, are you confident of going straight back into the top 4 next year?
Yes. I'm not. I don't think we challenge for. I don't think we win the league next year. I don't think we have a title challenge like we have done in the past, where it goes down to the last day and there's a point in it, this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
But for me, next year is all about bringing in these 4 or 5 new players who maybe aren't at the level that we expect of a title challenger yet. Giving them a year, winning. We have to win the. We have to win the Europa League. That is priority number 1 for me. If winning the Europa League, we have to win it, and I also want a domestic cup out of it and a top 4 finish. Beyond after that, once everyone's developed further, once we've got another year under the belt of Diaz, Gakpo, Nunes, Jota, McAllister, Thuram, Kone, Konate, Trent. Once all them lot have got another year under the belt and can kick on further, that's when I need to start sitting there and going, league title time, Champions League time. But next year, my main focus is just on getting that Europa League in. Because I want to win that competition because we're in it. I don't think it gets anywhere near the respect it deserves.
Great, bang on.
I mean, you make a really good point. I think Liverpool will automatically be one of the top. I can't even think who would be above them in the bookies odds for the Europa League at the moment. I'm trying to think who was a big club that didn't finish in their top 4.
Juve
are in the Conference League.
Conference League.
All right.
So there you go. You've got the favourites for the Conference League right there. Juventus, right? Along with Aston Villa, I reckon, because of Unai Emery and his speciality. But Europa League, I mean,
Europa League.
West Ham.
Roma,
West Ham.
Yeah, West Ham are in it. Roma will be back in it.
Oh, wait, hang on.
Brighton.
I want to say it was Betis were in it, I think.
Look, some of the Spanish and Italian teams always do well.
Villarreal got into Europa League in Spain.
The Europa League will be interesting when it comes to who drops down from the Champions League, because I think that's where you'll start getting your interest. I think you could see some big teams drop out into the Europa League at the midway point. I could see an English club going out, finishing 3rd and dropping into the Europa League, but based off the teams that are in the pots for the Europa League, we are the clear favourites.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
Most teams that drop down, we would still be favourites, in my opinion, to win that competition. So we have to win it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Agreed.
Dave, I'm gonna come to you, not with a Nottingham Forest question though. Before I do, there are 223 people in here and only 70 likes. I'm not a mathematician. I do believe that is just under a third. Off the top of my head, I believe that's 32.16%. I just made that up, but it sounds about right.
It's about 31%, yeah.
Please smash the like button. Please keep subscribing. Dave, before I come to a super chat, this comment is interesting. And look, I think it's pretty much common knowledge, right, guys, that James Maddison is not going to be playing in the Championship next season. I think we can all agree on that. I think it would be unfair. He'd be the best player in that league by a country mile. All the talk for the last week or two has been Spurs and Newcastle. If Villa have chucked their hat in the ring as well, for you, Dave, as a not a fan of any one of those clubs, what do you think makes sense for James Maddison at this stage in his career? If they're the three options.
The Forest bid as well? When are we expecting the Forest bid for Maddison as well?
No, we don't want him. I don't think he fit in with us, to be honest. Do you know what, lads? No, he's a cracking player, actually. Fair play to him. I just think it's funny. I just kind of thought from a fair way out that him and Newcastle were kind of made for each other. But you never know. Tottenham may attract him because he's likely to be their main man in midfield, you would imagine. Whereas if he goes to Newcastle, he's going to have to fit in alongside what I think is an excellent midfield of Willock, Joe Linton, and Bruno Guimaraes. So maybe Tottenham appeals to him. Villa, they've just crowded their midfield with Tielemans. Although him and Tielemans know each other that well, maybe they'll just go en masse to Villa. I personally think that he'll end up at Newcastle, and I've thought that for a while. But all I would say as a caveat to that is that if you asked me out 4 or 5 weeks ago before the season finished, I'd have kind of thought, Maddison to Newcastle, that's just as near to a formality as you're going to get. But Tottenham's hat has been thrown into the ring, and he might see himself as the queen bee at Tottenham, right? But then again,
do you think
the thing is though, it's like it goes back to the Mainan point, right? Is that unfortunately for Tottenham, they cannot offer Champions League football. Newcastle can offer that. AC Milan could offer that. You know what I mean? So poor old Tottenham. And this is why.
Dave, even without European football, do you think, I mean, if we're looking at all three clubs, do you think that Newcastle are more attractive because of the project they're going on? I.e., I think where they are right now, no one would have said they would have done this much since Eddie Howe took over, just over 18 months ago.
They're ahead of schedule, they are.
They are ahead of schedule. Villa, bearing in mind, Villa only came up from the Championship maybe 3 or 4 years ago. They've now got a top manager in Unai Emery.
Absolutely.
I think they've got a decent squad down there. And then you've got Spurs, who are the opposite to those two, that are the epitome of a reset, of a build, of starting a plan. Do you think that one of those will be more attractive to James Maddison than the other?
Maybe. I mean, like I say, Sam, if you'd asked me the question 3, 4, 5 weeks ago, I'd have said Maddison to Newcastle. But, he might look at Tottenham and think, I can go there and I can build a body of work to kind of get me further along in my career. But that is going to be, like I say, that's going to be a gradual incremental thing. But he might, if Newcastle United say, "Hey James, here's some Champions League football," he might go, actually, I can't wait for you, Tottenham.
Plus we're going to buy this player, that player to go with it.
I just think the problem for Tottenham is that they've got themselves into a really difficult position where they don't have that magnetism. They don't have that charisma that they've had down the years. Infrastructure-wise, fantastic stadium, this, that, and the other, big crowds, all this kind of stuff. But unfortunately, the team isn't up to the standard that somebody, I think, that you made a great point, Sav, before when you said Tottenham's ambition is one thing, but individual players of a certain level, their ambition is quite another. And I think, and the trouble with Tottenham is, it just seems to me, from an outsider's point of view looking in, boy, does that club need to find consensus, because it can't find it at the moment. You've got half the fan base want person A, half the fan base want person B, and until I've seen this in my club, we finally got a guy in after so long who united everybody. Not absolutely everybody, but about 97, 98% of it. And it's powerful, and it becomes a better club for it. And until Tottenham and their supporters all get on the same page, they're going to have a struggle. There is lots of talent at Tottenham Hotspur. There's good things. It's not all bad across the board, but unfortunately,
it's just the personnel that's bad. Just the footballers. It's
just finishing 8th. It doesn't do you any good at all, because unfortunately, you've got used to a certain thing. You've got used to Champions League qualification. You've got used to, you've got to a Champions League final. You've got used to going close in the league a couple of times. But unfortunately, that isn't happening this time. So not only do the club on the field and administratively have to take a reset, but the support have to take a reset as well.
Yeah, agreed.
You know what I mean? So I do think he'll go to Newcastle, but and I'm hedging my bets now. I'm sitting on that fence. I do think it wouldn't surprise me if he did go to Tottenham, but then it wouldn't surprise me if he went to Villa.
Yeah,
I just think it's that Champions League.
I think it
it's
depends
such
on
a
the mentality, because he could do the way I see Tottenham, and I can only compare to my club. Tottenham are what we were about 7-8 years ago.
Yeah,
which is in and around, hoping that rubber the green, we get top 4, and then we try and build off that. What we used to do then, what are basically big market employers, and I think if Harry Kane goes, this gets pushed even harder by Tottenham when they're trying to recruit players, can be the face of the new look Tottenham.
Yeah.
If Maddison goes to Newcastle, he's going to be a big player there, but he's got Alexander Isak, who I think is bigger, Bruno Guimaraes, Sven Botman. If he goes to Tottenham, he's competing with Christian Romero, at a push, Bentancur, David Raya, maybe Heung-min Son if he decides he wants to find his old levels again. If not, Pedro Porro has found some goals, so he might be one of the ones that get chucked in there. He can go into Tottenham and instantly become one of the big names, be the face of this new look Tottenham under Postecoglou or whatever it is. That might be what drives him. I don't think it's the smart decision. I think he should be going to Newcastle, because I think him on the right, Isak and Wilson, or even if they bring in another attacker, that could be a really good front three with a solid midfield behind it. Yeah. But if he's concerned about individual image and building up his individual legacy, should we say, I think Tottenham is the right place to go because of the marketability of it. Which is sad that we're sitting there talking about footballers now going, do they want to go and be big names and have good marketability, or do they want to go be successful?
I'll tell you what, Percy, let me come to you. I think this is a really interesting point because, again, I think that a lot. You know my feelings on this. I'm not going to go overboard. I feel like a lot of Spurs fans are in denial and have been for many years. I feel like they think that we've just suddenly turned bad, whereas we talked for years, Percy. Whereas I've been saying Spurs are doing this for 5, 10, 15 years. I think that the Champions League papered over many cracks. I think we've been going this way. But a lot of Spurs fans, like I'm seeing, so I'm not going to bring them up. I'm not going to do that tonight, but I'm seeing a lot of people in the chat talking about Villa or nothing, one good year for Newcastle. But in context, Percy, Newcastle, forget the Champions League, Newcastle have a plan. Newcastle have owners that have come out and said, actively come out and said, within 10 years, we want to be winning leagues and Champions League. Like, they put a timeline on it.
Of course.
Yeah.
Isn't that more attractive than what clubs have seen from Spurs yo-yoing between 8th and 4th for the last 10, 15 years, but never actually trying to do anything to push through that ceiling? Are those fans downplaying the likes of Villa and Newcastle?
I think it's so naive to be downplaying, let alone Newcastle, let alone Villa as well. I think it's absolutely naive. And when you said about the sort of strategy, the 10-year plan at Newcastle, which other team in the last couple of decades did that? Manchester City. Look what they've just gone and done. They put down a 10-year plan. When those people came in, our 10-year plan is to be winning trophies, winning titles. And that's what they've done. And this Newcastle, and thing is I've just read as well on a Newcastle thing that they're also linked with another midfielder in Ruben Neves. Now think of that midfield: Neves, Guimaraes, and Maddison in the three.
Yeah,
that is a proper midfield. Like,
Yeah.
and that's the thing, that's the thing though. Like where people completely miss the whole thing. I think a lot of Spurs fans still are sitting in the year 2019, and they're all still dancing about Ajax, going crazy about in Amsterdam, and their head is still there. Not a disrespect to people. I get it, it was an amazing moment, but that was 4 years ago now. That was 4 years ago. We're not that football club anymore. We're not that football club anymore. We got rid of Pochettino. We then brought in Jose. That didn't work. We then brought in Nuno. That was a mistake. And then we brought in Conte, and that didn't work. So my point being is I think fans need to be a bit more understanding and think about where we are.
Humble.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I put this out to people, and they miss when I said in football, there's a natural food chain. We all live in the food chain. We need to remember what place we are in the food chain. We're not up here. We're down here now.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's unfortunate. Newcastle are above us at the moment. So are Villa. So at the moment of Brighton, Liverpool are. And then it's like it's a natural food chain in football, and people completely miss that. And the thing is it's about being a bit realistic. And then when people go, but James Maddison will prefer to come to Tottenham over Newcastle. And then you just ask the question, why? On what footballing merit would James Maddison pick us over Newcastle? And no one can name me one.
London is what they'll tell you. But just quickly,
that's not a football merit.
Mate, I agree with you. Just quickly, Drake Box fan. First of all, I don't believe that you will send a $50 super chat. So I mean, let's be really, really honest.
Do it first, and then he'll say something positive.
You've never sent a super chat, so I don't believe you're going to suddenly do it now. The thing is, if you actually listen to what I say, Drake, when I say things about Tottenham, I do say some good things, but every time I say something that I like that's good, I get knocked down and told that my, that I'm in the mud. So, for example, if I say, I like the idea that we're going for Raya, I like that. I like Ange Postecoglou. I like that. I like that he will go and buy his own players that maybe we've not heard of because they will fit his system and they will all be workers. But when I say these things, Drake, right, what will happen is I'll get told, oh my God, Savva standards are in the mud. But when I'm truthful about the other side of things, I then get told I'm negative about Tottenham. Now, the thing is, you'll notice every other fan of every other fan base can actually see what's going on at Tottenham, apart from Tottenham fans. And that is the worry to me, the fact that I've got fans in the chat dismissing Villa. We dismissed Newcastle, right? We dismissed Arsenal. We dismissed Arsenal. This time last year, everyone at Spurs dismissed Arsenal. Oh my God, they've got Arteta. He's rubbish. They've had a terrible transfer window. We finished above them. Look what's just happened. Now everyone's going, oh, we want to do what Arsenal did. Well, hang on. This time last year, they were crap. So I think it's a reality. If you want to watch a Spurs channel where everything is roses, go and watch Chris Cowlin, because he'll go on Sky Sports and tell everyone why we should be fourth next year. If you want to listen to reality and someone who's not doing it to get on Sky Sports, this guy, right? That guy. Perchy, that guy. Sorry, it's weird. It's there, but it's there, right? So at the end of the day, it's not about not saying anything nice about Spurs, but the last thing I'll say on this, I won't labour this point, but Drake, I've been predicting this for the last 10, 15 years, and everything I was worried about has come true, unfortunately. So forgive me for not being enamoured with the way this football club is run. Guys, I've got a super chat and then we'll go to some questions that are in the chat. Super chat here from Ryan Isaacs has said, and big up Ryan, hope you are well, said, would you take Ben Mee? A homegrown proper defender seems to have elevated his game from Burnley to Brentford. Let me go round because I'll start by saying, for me, I want to see more players like Ben Mee at Spurs that want to defend. Defenders that defend, not the sexy name, not the sexy haircut, not this, oh my God, he's brilliant and can beat 15 people in a dribble. Defends. Tom, let me come to you. If you were Spurs, would you be looking at Ben Mee?
I think you need to look at a player like Ben Mee, but not Ben Mee because he's 33. You know, it's not a long-term fix, and you can't keep kicking the can down the road with this defence. You need to try and nip it in the bud now because it's been a problem for so long. And I think that this is a good market for centre-backs. I think there's a lot of good centre-backs out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Dave, Ben, I'll ask: would if you were Spurs, would you take him? Would you take him at Nottingham Forest?
I'd definitely take him at Forest. Yeah, I would. He's extremely intelligent. He's a cracking good leader. He's a guy who galvanises a dressing room. He's a guy who speaks beautifully. If you remember the problem that was at Burnley 2 or 3 years ago, awful things were said and what have you. Ben Mee came out and spoke beautifully, and he united his football club. I really like Ben. I think he's a really good player. I think he's got a presence. He's a sort of guy like I've watched Brentford a couple of times this year, especially at their place when they came late to beat us. And he seemed to kind of like drag them all. Hey, come on, we can do this. And he's got a presence. But Tom has just made a really good point that I'm going to caveat mine with, and that, like you say, Ben's age is against him. So if you could find, and I don't know whether there are many Ben Mee likes, around at the moment, but if you could find somebody of that, Ben Mee-esque ilk, then he would be fine. A Ben Mee at 25, 26 would be spot on. At Tottenham, Ben Mee at Forest at 33. Yeah, I'd have him definitely at our play. But again, I'm gonna get a little bit on my high horse here now. At Nottingham Forest, I know where I am in that food chain, and I've made it my duty to know where I am in that food chain. If I came on here and said, I'm on a level with, this gorgeous hunk of pop starness next to me at Liverpool, people are going to say, sod off, Dave. If I start saying that we're on a level with Tottenham Hotspur, people are going to say, sod off, Dave. The one thing I cannot abide, and I will not have levelled at me, is, God, that Dave, he's delusional about what Nottingham Forest are. I was on a show last week and I was saying, well, we've been European champions twice, but it was before, it was like in the Mesozoic era when we were like all living on Pangaea before the world had evolved. So it kind of doesn't. I know where we are. We were 16th in the Premier League, right? And I can't get away from that. And if I ever come on one of these shows and I'm not humble in that respect, please feel free to reach across these screens and punch me in the face. And I love the fact that all the Forest fans at the moment know where we are. Steve Cooper has educated us to know where we are. And I'm looking at Tottenham Hotspur, and Tottenham's problems will continue until you all come together and realise exactly where you sit. And I'm not, because I'm on this show, I listen to this guy, I listen to Sav, and I think these guys understand where Tottenham are. But if you think Tottenham is still, like Percy said, if you think Tottenham is still playing Liverpool, in a Champions League final, or running Leicester second a few years ago, then goodness me, what have you been in a coma? What have you been like on a life support machine?
Well, this is the thing, Dave. Let me show you.
I'm not, I don't want to be disrespectful to Tottenham Hotspur.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
They've got to get real.
Let me give you a couple of examples that show that some fans are really out of touch with where the club is right now. First of all, I really like Glenn, but I feel this is harsh, like saying these people getting excited about Ange have the club they deserve. Levy got them on strings, but Glenn, what are we saying, that no fan should be excited by a new manager coming in? Like, what are we all meant to do? We all meant to sit here now and go, no, that's it. No.
Does a guy not deserve a chance?
Right.
So if Glenn goes into a situation and somebody doesn't give him a chance, what does he do then?
No, I agree, but
this is the point. Sorry, Sav. Sorry, I just want to say, because this is what annoys me with this, is we've just had two of the best elite managers in the world.
Yeah.
We've now gone in a different route because we didn't work that way. So what I don't get what people want, because I hear all the time from people, oh my God, Brighton are amazing. Brighton do it right. And then we go down a Brighton route and everyone goes, oh, we deserve better than that. I don't get it. I don't get it. Sorry, Sam. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say.
Don't apologise, Perchy.
I was just going to say, Glenn, you know as well, though, Glenn, that you know I've been Levy out since 2007. So Levy's not got me on strings. But unfortunately, we are where we are. And where we are right now isn't attracting Jurgen Klopp's, Pep Guardiola's. We attracted the Contes and the Joses. Everyone hated their football. They hated managing us because they're used to winning and they're used to working with top players. But I don't think there's anything. I don't think anyone's going overboard about Postecoglou. But I do think that he could be the right man to start a process off. But and then this one just absolutely cracks me up. This one down here again, where fans really don't understand where we are. Where was it? It's this. If we want Maddison, we will get him. Like, it's just kind of like, it's so disrespectful. Like, if we want him, we'll get him. We're that good. Garage Classics, when have we ever done that with a player? If we want Maddison, we will get him. We wanted Grealish. I don't remember getting him. We wanted Mane. I don't remember us getting him. We wanted Willian. We didn't get him. We wanted Bruno Fernandes. We didn't get him. We wanted Milan Skriniar. I mean, I could do this game all day long. Right? So let's just relax. If we get Maddison, fantastic, and whoever pulls that off at the club deserves some respect.
Yeah, would be a coup.
But we've really got to stop this whole we're Tottenham, we're this massive. No, that's not the narrative. Not all Spurs fans. It's just fans like you that talk like we're this great club that have done things. In the last 15, 16 years, we've done no more than Villa and Newcastle. If we're going to put us against those two teams, we made a Champions League final, and that is what everyone is living off. Right?
It just seems to me, lads, and I may be being cruel. Just seems to me like Tottenham Hotspur as an entity is really insecure at the moment. It doesn't. It doesn't. It just seems, I think we should get, because what? So the worst thing in football is entitlement. Absolutely the worst. Like we're Nottingham Forest. We should win every game because I like them. Oh, do me a favour.
Yeah.
I cannot abide that. I tell you what. I'll give you an example. We played Liverpool at Anfield back in April, right? Just actually, I think it was the 22nd of April. It's just after the anniversary, and I remember going to Liverpool with my mate who runs a channel, Mr. Dorr. And he was asking people outside Anfield, what do you think the score will be today? Not one Forest supporter thought they were going to win. Everybody said Liverpool 3-0, Liverpool 2-0, Liverpool 2-1. Not one person thought Forest were going to win. And it just seemed to me, it said to me, we don't think we're better than we are. And what happened that day is if we could have defended set pieces, we might actually have pulled off an astonishing point, because it was 3-2. We hit the bar. We had Big Tyro who had an overhead volley, and we could have got some out of it. But
don't remind me, honestly. I'm never living down them long throws.
Sorry.
My centre backs must have felt like they were in World War II. It was just me and Caicedo on a long throw after long throw. Them all. Canate's on the floor, Van Dijk's on the floor, Henderson's pushing people out the way.
It's called RAF Niakate, mate. He was just launching it. It's like the gun. He's like a one-man gun of Navarrone's Musa Niakate.
Do you know what it was, Dave? I got to the last couple of minutes of that game, and I was begging Allister just kick it out for a corner instead of throwing. I could not deal with it anymore.
But you know what, Tom? We walked out of Anfield, right? And I think because we'd all not got ahead of ourselves and we didn't think we were entitled to anything, we all walked out of Anfield thinking, okay, well, we lost and we're still in a relegation dogfight. But you know what? Our lads battled hard and everybody went away kind of encouraged. And from that point on, we only lost one game. I think we won 4, drew 1 and lost 1 to stay up. So again, it's this, nobody at Nottingham Forest, and it's not been the case in the past. There's been lots of people like going, we won a European Cup 60 odd years ago, therefore we've a divine right to win anything. And I just think at the moment, I can, in a way, it's understandable that a lot of Tottenham supporters feel that they are where they think they are rather than where they actually are, because they've been used to better for quite a while. So in a way, it's excusable. But you've got to look at this season and think, right, Chelsea have got to do it as well. So it's not just Tottenham. Chelsea have got to look at a different sort of state of mind, if you like.
Yeah, of course. Football fans.
So it's not just Tottenham.
No, of course it's not. It is something we talk about all the time. It's tribalism. It's if again, as a football fan, if I don't sit here and say lots of lovely things about a club that's been in decline for years and years and years, it's my God, you're so negative. Am I negative or is it factual? Right? Like if I look at my bank account one day and let's say I look at my bank account tomorrow and I've got 25 grand in my bank, right? I could be quite happy, right? If I go on a mad bender for a week's holiday and I'm in strip clubs and I'm doing this and I've got 24 grand as done. Next week, when I'm saying I've got 1 grand in my bank, damn, I've got no money left. That's not me being negative. That's me being factual. What's happened? And I look at Spurs like we were creeping. We were creeping up. If you look, even Tom, like you can surely see before Liverpool went on this trajectory, Spurs had finished above Liverpool for like 8 out of 9 years or whatever it was. Right? Yeah. I remember us battering Liverpool at Wembley. Battering Liverpool. And everyone was
best
like,
thing that happened to us that game.
Right, okay. But that's my point. At that point in time, it was like, oh my God, hang on, are we better than Liverpool? Liverpool then went, let's act like a big club. Right? Let's act like a big club. Van Dijk, you come in. Right? Okay, cool. We want Allister, you come in. All right. Mo Salah, you come in. All these players they brought in. Spurs stood still.
Agreed.
Spurs stood still. And then what happened was Walker went. There's your first part of the puzzle. Then it was I don't know the exact order. I think Walker went. Then Dembele, Wanyama went. Then it was Dembele. Slowly but surely, Vertonghen and Alderweireld got old. Danny Rose was getting older. Dele Alli was dropping off. Christian Eriksen wanted to leave. And the thing is, I said since then, it's been going like this. And if it wasn't for Harry Kane, we wouldn't be in these conversations at all.
That's everything. Yeah.
And that's the difference. So when we say things like, if we've done nothing, what the hell have Everton and Newcastle done? But this is the point. We've won no more than them in that period of time. Yeah. Right? We've won no more than these clubs. Am I saying we're as bad as Everton? Of course I'm not. Right? But for me, we are those clubs with Harry Kane.
Agreed.
I truly believe if we didn't have Harry Kane,
this season 100%.
Take away 290 odd goals from Tottenham over the last. You might not even have a stadium because, he's as near to a one-man club as you've got at the moment.
I just wanted to touch on another thing that Garage Classic says, calling Aston Villa a clown club. By the way, the absolute disrespect. This is a football club that has won the European Cup, a trophy that Tottenham haven't even won. You can't. Yeah. This is what annoys me is we've got this recency bias in football where because Aston Villa haven't been the team in the Champions League or a team that have won a load of FA Cups and stuff, we call them a clown club. I'm sorry. That just sums up football nowadays. If anything, as Savva was saying, we haven't won anything more than what Aston Villa have or Newcastle or Everton have in the last, 2 decades? Do you know what I mean? Like, what right do we have? What right do we have to start belittling clubs like Aston Villa, Newcastle, Everton? We don't win anything, and people think that we've got this divine right. You wouldn't even hear that from Man City fans belittling clubs like that. And Man City win things every season. Sorry, I had to say that because I'm not having people disrespecting clubs like Aston Villa and stuff who have won bigger and better trophies than we have in our whole lifetime. Sorry.
Yeah, listen, I think it's right.
Well said, Perchy. Well done, Perchy, mate. Good on you, Jack.
It's fine. If fans think Spurs are better than clubs, cool. But I don't know why that then means we have to call them clown clubs. I remember when Aston Villa were a better team than us not too long ago when they had the likes of Gareth Barry and Ashley Young and James Milner and I watched Aston Villa beat us twice this season with ease. with
They
relative
didn't get out of first gear. They were that good.
relative ease. Now, listen, we might finish above them next year. We could do, but we could not do as well because they've got a very good manager who gets the best out of players, is vastly experienced, and I just think that we need to get in the pecking order. But look, and apparently that makes me deluded and negative. But I think if you speak to 99% of fan bases, if Spurs are the 1%, those fan bases will be saying what I'm saying.
Agree.
That's the way the Forest fan base look at Tottenham. The Forest fan base, I think, and I know, a large swathe of them look at Tottenham all falling out with each other. They won't win anything until they stop falling out with each other. That's the way Forest look at them, and that's not disrespect. I mean, I've got massive respect for Tottenham Hotspur. They're one of the greatest clubs that's been in this country, and I grew up with, Gilzine, Chivers, Peters, Mike England, Phil Beale, Joe Kinnear, Cyril Knowles, the great Pat Jennings, and it was Graham Roberts, Gaza, Chris Waddle, Clive Allen, Arioji went from us to Tottenham. So Tottenham have had great players and are a great. They're a great institution. We're not saying that, but right at this very minute, Tottenham have to do some real proper navel gazing of the sort that we've had to do for 20 odd years, and that Tom's lot had to do a few years ago. Now, Tom's lot did their navel gazing, and again, looking from out over the fence into Anfield Garden, it looks like, Liverpool had a look at themselves and actually did sort themselves out. They won a Champions League, they've won a Premier League, and they've become a power in this football over the last 4 or 5 years. Maybe not so much this season, but I think the transition was beginning. And sometimes it's almost like you want to get all the Tottenham population together in a room, say, right, let's thrash it out, have a meeting, and we all walk out unified. Because if you've got factional cults and sects, SECTS, not SEX, within your fan base, how can your whole fan base move forward to get behind your club? I mean, I said it before, I look at Ange Postecoglou and I just think there's Scottish League, that's rubbish. He's Australian, that's rubbish. And it's coming back to this thing again. But I'm a bit fed up with talking about Tottenham now.
Let's talk about another club.
I'll say a quick piece on them, because I feel that with Tottenham, what I've seen since about 2016 is you had your, I'm not going to say golden era, because golden eras normally last a bit longer, but you had your chance, should we say. You had all the stars aligned for your team. You had a really, really solid team, but you couldn't get over the line. And then what happened was everyone caught up, because football waits for no one. Everyone caught up.
Agreed.
And your club, whether it was the managers or the players or the higher ups, just decided, no, I like what we have right now, so I'm not going to change it. I like what we have, so why will I change it? Why will I do this? Why will I do that? Now, you then had no plan. You then had absolutely zero plan. You bought in managers that didn't match the players. They then moulded the players. Then bought in managers that didn't match the new molds of the players. And it just went all to pot. What I believe needs to happen at Tottenham is a reset of expectations and a complete reset of the squad, because you have too many players that are caught up in 3 different mindsets. Postecoglou is a good project manager. I think could, the way I look at Tottenham, and take no offense to this, your best managers are the ones that have very little pedigree going into your club.
I can't agree more.
Pochettino, Redknapp, they're the most recent ones.
Keith Birkinshaw.
Look at Keith Birkinshaw was from Weymouth. Martin Yole was the number 2 to Jacques Santini. Redknapp was from Portsmouth. Poch was from Southampton. Anytime we get in, like when we got in AVB, he was the wonder boy of European management. He was the new Jose Mourinho. Fans hated him. Jose's a winner. That's not right. Conte's a winner. That's not right. Nuno's not right. But then when we go the other way, it's oh my God, this guy, he's only done it at Celtic. But my question is always this. And I want to move away from Tottenham. My question is always this. When we say done it, done what? What is it at Spurs? What are people expecting This guy's going to achieve at Spurs when there are so many better football clubs than us. But look, let's move on from Spurs. I did like the comment. The one comment I did like was this did make me laugh. I'll sub myself off. I'm sorry. I need the gaffer to sub me off. I'm having a poor stream tonight. Poor stream. Just
I'm going to turn up.
Mate,
I'm like Jack Grealish said on Saturday night. I'm having a shocker tonight. And Dexter, I'm really sorry, mate. I've been appalling tonight. I'm really sorry for the piss poor John Bishop impression, mate. I'm really sorry. Actually, can I just, before we move on from Tottenham, I'll make a prediction about Tottenham.
Go on.
Tottenham will win the league next year. They'll win the FA Cup and they'll win the Carabao Cup. And they'll do it just for Garage Classics.
Well, do you know the funny thing, Dave? And we are going to move on. We're going to do some quick fire questions from the from the viewers, and we'll go around with quick answers. Just before we do, what makes me laugh is I've been saying this stuff about Spurs for years. This is nothing new, right? I'm not shocked by it. It's not me being revisionary, like some people call it. I've been saying this. Perchy will back me up. I've been saying this for as long as I can remember, right? What makes me laugh is I'll get people who come into my channel and they'll say things like, Savva, I guarantee you, the FA Cup this year, we're winning it. We're winning it. And I'm always like, cool, let's see us do it. When we don't do it, it's, but this and that. And just, it baffles me. But look, guys, let's go through some comments. People, please smash the like button. There's 265 you in here, 110 likes. Thank you to the 5 people who have subscribed to me throughout the show. If I could get another 10, I'll be honest, it would be absolutely fantastic. And we're well on our way to 6K. Subscribe to Perchy TV. Subscribe to Tom Little as well. We'll put the links in the chat before the end of the show. Let's go through some quick fire questions, guys. Tom, we'll go Tom, Dave, Perchy. We'll keep this really, really quick. Yonis Abukar has said, question, are Arsenal second favourites if they sign both Rice and Caicedo? I think that is commonly known now as Caicedo. So if they get both of them, are they second favourites, Tom? I think, assuming Man City are going to win the league, right?
I mean, I don't think we're there, and I don't think United are going to be there. So yeah.
Okay, Tom, you think they will be? Dave, they've just finished second. Will those two players, is that enough for them to stay in second in the hunt in a title race?
Yeah, just about, but I think they need to bolster their defence as well. But I think City win it again next year. At the moment, it would take a great leap of faith to see anybody overhauling that machine. I actually think as well that having got the Champions League under their belt now, psychologically they've got that one monkey off their back. They feel like the complete team now that they've done that. And they didn't play well, but they got the trophy. So I think Rice and Caicedo would be good, and it gives Arsenal a good chance. But they've got other areas in that team they need to address, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Perchy, to round it off, Arsenal second favourites, or have they got more to do?
I think it puts them in the conversation. I think we don't, obviously this is obviously debating. This isn't obviously put into the context of Man United. If Man United go and buy in an elite striker, and then they can go and finally get some goals on their side. Because I think Man United seems quite good. They just can't seem to finish. Same with Chelsea. I know they're not playing in Europe next season. They've got a very good squad, so they'll be in the conversation. But I mean, if they sign both Rice and Caicedo, that sorts out their midfield. I don't think they will, but I think if we're on this base of this question, I think just about puts them second favourites because I think Man City will walk the league again.
Yonis, thank you very much. There's a couple of questions about the same player, so I'll ask them all and then we'll talk about it just really, really quickly. So the first one was from Jake saying, do Spurs need Sancho? Jazz Jones said, am I the only one not feeling this Sancho thing? I'm not keen. There was another Sancho question down here about faults. What's your thoughts on the Sancho rumours? Lots of Sancho talk, Tom. 50 million they're talking about to Tottenham. Is that what Tottenham need? Is Sancho consistent enough?
I look at Jadon Sancho and I thank whoever is up there that we didn't go and spend £80 million and sell Sadio Mane a year or two before we did to bring him in. Jadon Sancho is not fit for the Premier League. His play style simply doesn't survive the Premier League wing. He's not quick enough. He's not direct enough. He's fantastic in the slower leagues because the fullbacks aren't as aggressive. Tottenham Hotspur do not need Jadon Sancho. Not at all. Not at all. And for the price that they're quoting 50 million, no. If anything, Jadon Sancho needs Tottenham more than Tottenham needs Sancho.
Yeah,
and that's why you shouldn't be going for him, because Sancho needs something else than United. Sancho needs a reset, and for me, that reset's going to be back abroad, probably in Germany. That's where he's got to go. It's not
absolutely. Dave, I'll come to you. Same question. I mean, Jadon Sancho's on 350 grand a week as well.
No, not for Tottenham. No, I don't think Ange will be interested in that. And like my grandson's just said it. He hasn't done enough. He hasn't made enough of an impact. He's been sort of an England international, sort of a Manchester United player. And I think the Bundesliga, I watched the last day of the Bundesliga, right? Because I wanted Dortmund to win it, because I'm fed up of Munich. They're a great team, Munich, but you don't want to win it every year. And I was watching Mainz, thinking, blimey, they've got some good players. And actually, being parochial, Forest fetched Taiwo Awoniyi from Union Berlin, Orel Mangala from Stuttgart, and Moussa Niakhaté from Mainz. And then three lads were kind of crucial in our survival. So the Bundesliga, he just needs
a lot of good players coming out of the Bundesliga.
They are. He personally, I don't know. He needs to be advised properly by somebody. He could do with his dad or somebody like that looking after him rather than an agent. I mean, although fair play to his agent, he's got a guy who's essentially an average player, 350 grand a week. Well, what does the lad spend it on? He must be buying so many paperbacks from Amazon, and buying like DVDs and stuff. But if I was I tell you what, actually, he would be
so much for quick fire questions.
Yeah, sorry. It's Dave Asprey in a nutshell. It's Dave Asprey in a nutshell, but never in a nutshell. Do you know what I mean?
the name of your autobiography. Perchy, round it off for us. Jadon Sancho.
Jadon Sancho, I think, I'll be honest, with the rumours that have come out, I think about it and go, the only realistic way if it happens is if Kulusevski's not joining. I don't see there's any point. If it was going to happen, for me, I think it's more agents trying to find him a home, basically, for me. He obviously isn't wanted at Man United. And it's his agent going around to people going, what about Spurs? I don't think he'll fit our system. And you know what? The one thing I do think, there is a player there. There is a player in there. He needs it needs to be the right fit. Man United was, maybe you could argue, a bigger step than probably needed to be. So but yeah, I think he needs a manager to put his arm around him. I don't think Man United's fit for him. But yeah, for him to come to Tottenham, no, I don't think it will work, and it won't fit the build that Postecoglou want to do.
Tom, next question. Tom understood the rules of the quickfire game. Perchy and Dave just
that's youth and wisdom for you. That is
just not following directions at all. A nice simple one here. Matthew Hayden wants to know: can someone explain why Declan Rice would choose Arsenal over Bayern?
3 factors. London. He's got a family. I know he's had a kid recently. You've got to remember these people are football. These people aren't footballers mainly. They are people. They have families. He probably doesn't want to, up turf his family that have just got settled in London. 2, this Arsenal project is actually very promising. I know you might not like it if you're a Chelsea or a Tottenham fan, but take the trivial glasses off. This Arsenal project has a lot of potential, and he slots in very nicely in that Xhaka role. And thirdly, Bayern Munich, certain players just have a different type of ambition. Yes, he would go to Germany and win the league title every year, but maybe he's sitting there and going, I want a more competitive, I want to stay in the Premier League, I want to build a Premier League legacy. Maybe it means more for me if I do it in this league, have a Champions League legacy there, this, that, and the other. There's a lot of factors behind why Rice would choose Arsenal over Bayern. Bayern's a mess at the minute. Let's not forget that they sacked their chief executive on the pitch midway through the title celebrations. The director of football was barred from turning up for the last match because he'd angered too many people before he got sacked. There's question marks about whether Tuchel wants to stay. Why would a player moving into one of the most making his first major move of his career with a lot of pressure on it want to join such a tumultuous situation when he's got such a secure one in Arsenal?
Yeah, Dave?
Everything that Tom said.
Perchy?
Keep it simple. realistically, to come into it, as Tom said, the project at Arsenal is promising. They came second, so realistically, their trajectory, we like to use that. Money, Arsenal will be able to offer a lot more money at the moment. A lot of money in Europe. There's not a lot of money in Europe, and two, doesn't have to move home, does he? I think it just the Arsenal Declan Rice thing is for me just made complete sense.
It is. He lives about 20 minutes from their training ground.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's I'll just add on really quickly to this. Has anyone ever thought about maybe as well Borussia Dortmund for midfield options have the likes of Goretzka, Kimmich, Musiala? Declan Rice is Declan Rice is a good player, but I think he goes to Arsenal, and I think he turns into their captain within a few years.
He does.
Of
course, yeah.
Next question will be this. Where are we? This is one for Tom. As good as McAllister is he the type of midfielder Liverpool needed? For me, they lack pace, power, and energy.
We can't have a mid. If we are sticking with this 3-box-3 system, which I believe we are, because the manager said he wants to keep Trent in this inverted role, and I don't see how another system works with this squad. If we're keeping this system, we need 2 players like that. We need the person alongside Trent, and so the person who sits alongside Trent in the pivot, and the person who sits to the right of Trent as the advanced centre mid. They need to be the ones who have the legs and the energy. But a McAllister, he does have the legs and energy. He's got really good defensive numbers, comparable to some of the best defensive numbers from midfielders in Europe. Barella, Modric. Who else does he compare with? Bernardo Silva, Ilkay Gundogan. He has really good comparisons to them statistically. So he's not like a slouch. He's not someone who we're just going to sit there and go, oh, well, he doesn't need to do anything. He's still going to carry his fair amount, but we also need that attacking quality in midfield. And McAllister brings that. Yeah, that's why we need a Kone and a Thuram to facilitate that. A lot of this Liverpool team is about facilitating the good players. In our pomp, our midfield was basically a glorified facilitator. Wijnaldum and Henderson were told, you do not go there, you do not go there, you do not do this, you do not do that. You have one job, and that is run up and down and tackle and make sure that Robertson and Trent aren't getting exposed. We're evolving, but yes, I do agree. We need pace and power. But McAllister is the perfect left-sided midfielder for us, the most advanced one. I can't believe I'm saying this. The ideal play for the Curtis Jones role.
Let me move into the next question then, because if I get everyone to answer all of them, we'll be here all night. I'll give this one to you, Perchy. Daniel Parker has said. By the way, Daniel Parker's in a picture with some guy who I think used to be welcome at our stadium, and he's the greatest manager that football has never seen. Daniel has said, evening all, where do you think Caicedo will end up? Rumours going around tonight, Arsenal could get him as well as Rice. If we get both, it could be a complete game changer for us. Perchy, I guess my question is, Arsenal to get Rice and Caicedo, we're talking about 170 to 180 million pounds. And this is a team that still need to bolster their squad elsewhere. Can you see that happening? Or do you think Chelsea could be an option for him?
I think if Arsenal get both, I will go. I said at the start, I said they'll get one of them, one of the two. If they get both, then you look at it and go, wow, fair play. That's a very, very good window. But as you say, they've got other places to look at. They're going to be spending 170 million pound on midfielders. That, I don't know. I've always thought, I think Caicedo will fit the Chelsea mould over the Arsenal one. I think if Caicedo goes into that midfield with Enzo Fernandez and then the more attacking likes of Nkunku in that sort of 4-2-3-1 sort of thing with Mudryk and Madueke out wide, I think that looks like a really nice midfield. So for me, I think it's more likely he'll go to Chelsea than he'll go to Arsenal. But we'll wait and see.
Yeah, absolutely. Dave, let me come to you with the next question. Here's an interesting one. I'm going to ask you a question about Tom's team here. Leon Phillips Cooper said Colwill to Liverpool. He's English too. Now Colwill they've already had Brighton have already had a £40 million bid turned down by Chelsea because apparently Chelsea see him as an integral part of their future. Can you see then Chelsea selling him to Liverpool?
I don't know. That's an interesting question. On the subject of Levi Colwill, he's a person very dear to my heart and will remain so for the rest of my life because he scored that wonderful goal for us last year against Huddersfield when he was on loan to them at Wembley. So Levi Colwill is a Forest hero and a legend. He doesn't know it, but he is. And having seen him for Huddersfield last year, I wasn't massively impressed. But then I saw him for Brighton late on in that game at our place, where for the most part he looked a good lad, a promising lad. Chelsea to give him to Liverpool, there's this kind of cliche about you don't give to your peers, if you like. Admittedly, Liverpool are above Chelsea at the moment, but in terms of the stature of the club and whatever, they're both going through different phases. They're kind of on a level. So I think he'd be a good player to have. Actually, he's left-sided, and he's one that Jurgen Klopp and the Liverpool coaching staff can take as a little bit of a raw material and polish him up. And I don't know what age he is. I think he's quite young, but I think that'd be a good signing for Liverpool to get. I am saying that consciously aware that Harry Styles was giving it the big thumbs up over there. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I don't want to get.
I think Levi Colwill's fantastic. I think he's fantastic. I'd love him.
I tell you what he does. He's a good lad for playing the ball out from midfield. From the back, sorry. He'll come out with the ball quite well. He's not Hansen-esque, but he's not bad at sort of starting moves.
He's yet another one that's going to come out of the Chelsea academy and either star for them or they're going to get 50-odd million for him. So Chelsea keep doing this is phenomenal, by the way. Next question. This is for me. By the way, a Drake Box fan, I've yet to see the $50 super chat.
Disappeared. Where's he gone?
Disappeared. It's funny that people say things like that and never ever back it up. It's like that person, Tom. I don't know if you're on that show with me. I was on the Football Terrace that time, and that fan came into the chat when Arsenal were 8 points clear of City, and I bet him
the bet about Man City win the league.
And I bet him £1,000 Man City would win the league, and he was like, "No." And I said, "Look, are you definitely going to pay it?" And everyone was like, "Right, we've snapped this." And not seen that since. I've had bets about Spurs finishing below Liverpool, haven't been paid. I mean, lots of bets that people don't pay out on.
Savva, can I tell him he can send me $50 because I about 5 minutes ago predicted Tottenham would win the league, win the FA Cup, win the Carabao. And they're going to go for the Papa John's as well. So if that happens, then can I have 50 quid?
The under 21s can go win the Papa John's.
I get 50 quid's worth of pizzas or something. You know what I mean?
Just that even if he did, if he had sent the $50 super chat, I would have put it straight into the British Heart Foundation. So quite right. Listen, if you're going to talk a big game, you've got to deliver, my friend. Next question is, let's rattle through these. Next question is this: off topic, Bando Baby. I like that. I said off topic, but where do you rank Eden Hazard as Premier League greats? Just really quickly from everyone, like one sentence. Eden Hazard, where do we put him in terms of Premier League greats?
I don't know. Not as highly as most other people. I think that comparison they do on Henry, Hazard, Ronaldo, Salah. He's comfortably bottom of that list.
Yeah, I think on the wingers and stuff, I'd say I don't think he's like. I think for what he did I think short period. If you took his thing there, because his short period was amazing, and then he kind of went to Real Madrid and it kind of it petered out. So you have to, and it's a really tough one because a lot of this conversation can be all done on longevity. Look at sort of Salah's done it just consistently every year, but that period that he had under Conte, was it? It was under Conte, right? I thought he was brilliant. I mean, when he scored a goal against us that basically sealed us from not being able to beat Leicester that year. But yeah, it's a really hard one because it's all about he wasn't here long enough to sort of go, he was one of the greats like the Henrys and the Salahs and stuff. But yeah,
a very good but not quite great. I would say an excellent player, but not one of the true legends that
agreed.
we've mentioned.
I would say top footballer that lacked consistency, and I think that's what separates the best from the rest. But on his, I mean, you can apply this with so many players. On his day, he was unplayable, but gone to Madrid, and he's kind of been forgotten about for 4 or 5 years or however long he's been there. Nick, but thank you for that question. Here's a good question. I like this question. Is everyone all right for time, by the way? Just want to check.
Absolutely.
Tom, are you allowed up this late, or are you... Just checking.
Is that by his mum or his girlfriend?
I'm going to get told off by his mum for keeping him up.
I love Tom.
I'll let you stop up, Tom. Mate, I'm family. I'll let you stop up, son. You're all right, mate.
Right, this is an interesting one. Who is the better player, Neymar or Bale? I've seen this debate on Twitter lately. I mean... Who wants to start with this? Neymar. I guess the way to ask this question is, if you had to choose one person to be in your team, who are you picking? Is it Neymar or Bale? I guess that's the easiest way to answer this.
I prefer Bale. I say I don't. You've got all these types of players. I just like a player who's effective, and I think Gareth Bale was a very effective footballer. Mm-hmm. He scored goals, he created, he was quick, he could take on a man. Neymar was fantastic, but I also have to consider the fact that around February time, I am losing him for a month because of his sister's birthday. I have to protect his ankle at all costs, otherwise I'll lose him for 3 months.
Up again.
And again, it's just personal preference, isn't it? I watched Gareth Bale score the greatest Champions League final goal of all time against my team.
Yeah.
Magically, wasn't it?
I can't reasonably go against a player who'd done that to my team. The second goal is irrelevant because my goalkeeper was awful, but the first one, Jesus.
Yeah. Okay, we've got one for Bale. Dave, Neymar or Bale? I mean, let's be fair. If it was me and you picking teams, I wouldn't mind which one I got. But, Neymar or Bale, who are you going for? Bale,
less baggage, more honesty. And like Tom said, more effective. Carried the country on his back. Neymar, just, I don't know. Maybe I'm like a player's personality affects my reading of them, but I just, give me Gareth Bale in day of the week. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and very good at golf, Perchy. Who are you picking, Bale or Neymar?
Yeah, I think I agree with everyone here. I think Gareth Bale. I think in those moments when you needed someone to step up, even in a team like Real Madrid, which had absolutely amazing players. Mm-hmm. He was even when he was getting hated on by Real Madrid fans, he turned up in those big occasions. As Tom said, that Champions League final goal goes down as one of the greatest Champions League goals I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting one for me. I always find it difficult the who's better conversation because I think they're two very, whilst they play in the same position, technically, they're very different. Neymar's the guy you're getting the ball to. He will hold on to it. He's got all the flicks. He's got all the tricks. He scores a lot of goals. Bale's your explosive, powerful match winner that can do it all. I think the one thing that tips it in Bale's favour for me, I'm just so disappointed that Neymar went to PSG at the age he did. I felt that at Barcelona, him playing alongside Messi and Suarez was one of the greatest front threes I've ever seen. And he was exhilarating in that front three. And then to go to PSG, I get it, the money and that, but I'm thinking at that age, if you're leaving Barcelona, to go to PSG, I just think, what message does that send out? And for me, Bale went the other way with his career, where he went from Southampton to Spurs to Madrid, 5 Champions Leagues, and Bale turned up in massive games. Champions League, overhead kicks in Champions League finals. That goal against Bilbao.
Was it?
But no, Barcelona in the cup where he ran off the pitch.
That was incredible.
And without him, Wales would have still been waiting however many years for a World Cup appearance, a Euro appearance. He's captained brilliantly. He's kind of personified, a nation's football, and so you can't take that away from him. Honestly,
but let's
really
be brutally
look at Bale's Champions League legacy. The man's played in 3 finals, won man of the match in 2 of them, scored the winner in 2 of them. Like that is ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous. The man was a freak.
Bale. Obviously, we're going to say this, and people will
Plus,
think
he
we're
had the
biased.
best end to his career. He just got to go play golf. He's
Yeah.
He's ended it.
That night in I will always remember that night in Milan where he basically just completely unbelievable. That hat trick he scored.
Mad thinking that we were 4-0 down in that game, and we
Do you know the thing is as well? I would say that for a couple of years at Tottenham, we were a disgrace. But Gareth Bale, it felt like every week was trying to win Goal of the Season award. He was just he was phenomenal. But listen, by the way, if you offered me Neymar in my team, I'm not going to say no, right? But Bale,
very good.
His final ever touch of a football was a last-minute equaliser, which his team ended up going on and winning the cup.
Yeah,
that was his final ever touch of a football. Ridiculous.
Well, here's a question that I'm not allowed to answer. You'll see why in a second. I'm not allowed to get involved in this debate. I have a Spurs mate who raves about Romero. Do you have him as world class? I'm Chelsea, and he says Romero is better than Thiago Silva.
No. Thiago Silva was one of the generation's best centre backs. I still enjoy watching Thiago Silva nowadays.
Hang on,
even at
I've
the
got.
age of
I need a minute to myself. I need just.
The thing is, I think Cristiano Romero has a lot of potential. You know, I think the issue with him is though he needs a partner who holds his hand and keeps him in line. And basically just keeps on clipping him around the back of the head and telling him, shut up, concentrate, stop being an idiot every 5 minutes, because he's actually a very good defender. But it's when it's like a dog. The moment the owner looks away from the dog and it realizes it can do stupid stuff, it goes and does stupid stuff. That's what Romero is. Someone just needs to keep him on a leash, and then you've got a really good centre back. But better than Thiago Silva? Not a chance. I would still have Thiago Silva in my team now.
Do you know my worry, Tom, with everything you've just said there? It isn't that you said anything wrong at all, but my worry is that at the age of 25, it's not been knocked out of him. Right, that's my point. Right? No, honestly, you think all the managers he's had in his career to date, right? At Juve, at Atlanta, for Argentina, for Antonio Conte, you think all these managers, all the centre-half partners he's played alongside, and that has still not come out of his game. That's my worry. I like Romero. I just don't think he's as good as a lot of Spurs fans think. And give me Thiago Silva in 3 years' time above Romero. Thiago Silva is so far clear of Romero. It's not for me, it's not a debate. Dave?
Absolute no comparison. Give me Thiago Silva any day of the week. I saw him for Chelsea at the City Ground, where we actually got on top of them. And his reading of the game, his composure, he just seems to know where everybody is. And he's still as good now. I mean, I know he's knocking on, but he's a superb player. And I think he's one of the 4 or 5 best defenders in the league. I tell you what, if Chelsea hadn't had him this year, they could have been a relegation candidate for sure. I think he's wonderful. And like, the thing is, though, Romero has won a World Cup. Now you can't take that off him. And maybe the best person to hold his hand is Otamendi, because for Argentina in Qatar, Otamendi obviously had the leash. He kind of put the collar around. He had his little metal thing with his name on it, Eduardo, and Otamendi was yanking the leash, and he played really, really well. He's come back to the Premier League, and he's a bugger for a rash tackle. But he's not going to he's Dave, the great rapper Dave. He's not going to write a song about Eduardo Romero like he's written one about Thiago Silva. Do you know what I'm saying? So I think Thiago is. I was asked what really good players that I've seen at the City Ground this year, and obviously, I mean, a lot of big names came to our place and didn't really play that well because our home record was really good. But Thiago Silva was excellent, and he was excellent when we drew 2-2. He's a quality player, and Tom's right, a generational defender.
I'm not going to ask Perchy. I know Perchy's opinion on this far too well. Just quickly, by the way, my one bugbear with this is I'm really bored of all the other defenders being blamed for how rash he is.
So annoying.
I'm so, I'm so bored of every time he does something stupid, we go, it's Dyer's fault. And you're like, well, hang on. Dyer didn't make him run 20 yards out of the box to clatter someone. Anyway, I'm not going to get into it. Everyone knows my opinion. I think he's a good defender. My worry is exactly what Rio Ferdinand said about him. He said he is not a young defender. It is worrying how often he loses his head. And to Tom's point, what he said earlier, for me, I'll use a different analogy. What he reminds me of, Tom, is, you know, when 5 and 6 year olds playing a game, you watch under 5s, under 6s, and they all run to the ball because they don't understand positioning. Romero is that guy. He sees the ball and he doesn't think, let me hold my shape. He goes, ball, must run. And you're like, but listen, let's move on from Romero. It gets me in trouble. I get in loads of trouble for this conversation.
Me too.
I know in my YouTube comments when I wake up tomorrow morning, I'll have loads of abuse going, Savva, you're a prick. You hate Romero. You're a dick. You shouldn't be on YouTube. Somebody earlier said, oh, you're trying to compete with all these teenagers. I was like, shut up. Anyway, let's move on. That's
my job, Savva, at 59, mate. I do that.
You're never too old to talk about football.
With the kids.
I'm going to answer this one and move on if that's all right. When Red Javi saying, why is no one looking at Tomori? I am guessing because Tomori would cost an absolute arm and a leg to get out of AC Milan. But this guy's a proper centre-half. When Milan came to White Hart Lane this year, he was superb. He was absolutely superb in the back four for them that day. Yeah. Quickly, I'm sorry, there's so many questions. I'm going to rattle through some of them. Would you take Manor Solomon? I feel like I've only seen him like for a couple of months and he had a purple patch and then he's on the bench again. And I feel like for me, it would be very reactionary.
He's not worth all the legal trouble either. If you sign him, Shakhtar are going to try and sue you.
Stuff's a nightmare. I wouldn't. What I saw of him, I liked of him. But you're right. If it means we're going to be going to court for like months to sort it out, yeah.
Ange's more likely to get Lyle Alvarado.
It's a stupid thing as well because I've had to read into it. What Shakhtar will be doing is suing you for what they believe he was worth at the time his contract was terminated. What they believe he was worth. So they're aiming for something of around 40 to 50 million because they spent like 30 odd on him. So that's why I'm just sitting there going, it's a poison chalice for whoever goes for him. Unless you truly believe he's worth £50 million, which he isn't.
No, I agree with you. Thanks, Sue. You're adored as well, as is your elastic waistband that you were talking about earlier. Just quickly, before we go to the last questions, thank you to the 2 or 3 people that have just subscribed. Can I get another 8 subscribers by the close of business in about 10, 15 minutes? If we can, that would be great. Subscribe to Tom Little, subscribe to Perchy. Let's get this guy to over 1,000 as soon as possible. Manuel Solomon, I mean, do you guys think Kylian Mbappe will leave PSG this summer? What I would say on this, Tom, I'll come to you first. You might say I'm wrong here, Tom. For me, the only way I see Mbappe leaving is for one club if they stump up stupid money, and I think you know which club I'm talking about.
The bane of my existence, yeah. Real Madrid. I don't know if someone else. I don't see him come to the Prem. Like United or those. I don't get why we're getting mentioned. I don't get why we're getting mentioned in these debates. We couldn't get 80 million together for Jude Bellingham. Where are we going to pull 150 out of? Don't see him going Chelsea. I think his heart's set on Madrid, and he's either just going to go this summer, but I don't think Real Madrid are going to pay the money for him now because they've got Bellingham. And if they don't pay the money for him now, then PSG just lose him free in a year's time. And this whole project they had where they brought in Neymar, Mbappe, Messi goes down as the biggest shambles of a project in recent football history.
Yeah. I mean, Dave Perchy, I mean, look, they're saying they don't want to lose him on a free. I can't imagine what they charge for him, Dave. 150, 140, 125 to get him out with a year's. I mean, let's be fair. He is the heir apparent to Ronaldo and Messi in European football. Now they've both gone. I'm guessing he is the heir apparent.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I just wonder where it all stops.
Yeah, agreed.
Where does it all stop? I mean, 150 million for like one person who in 2 weeks could have like a cruciate ligament injury. I mean, maybe in years to come, the only people who'll be able to afford players at the apparent value of Kylian Mbappe are the Saudis.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Because, like either salary cap comes or you'll get players who are just so expensive, nobody can buy them. And they'll just end up at their clubs because their clubs are just ridiculously clinging on to them. I mean, Tom's right. The only club that I could see him leaving for is Real Madrid. But I think it's more likely they're going to go for Harry Kane than Mbappe. I think they need, they need a Harry Kane more than they need Mbappe. I mean,
but doesn't a club like Real Madrid work though? That what they won't want to do is go for Kane. I'm not saying this from Spurs and let somebody else potentially have Mbappe for the next 10 years.
Yeah. That's exactly right, mate. Yeah, I agree.
The only other one I would say, Perch, I'll come to you for this to round it off. The only other one I would say is an outside chance. What if Man United do get the Qatari owners and they do want to make a statement? Is there any? Listen, I know I'm playing Football Manager here, but new owners that have whatever money, statement, will it be either Kane or Mbappe for me if they get there?
Yeah, no, I think this is quite an interesting one with the Mbappe one with 1 year left on his contract, because I sit and think like, well, it looks like Daniel Levy put the marker at 120 odd million pound for Harry Kane. And now that you sit there and go, well, if Spurs want 120 million pound for Harry Kane with 1 year left at the age of 30, how much is a 24-year-old player that is in, as you say, heir to the Messi Ronaldo conversation on 1 year left? I mean, PSG rejected an offer that was 100 and someone will come in the. They rejected 160 million or maybe it was over 200 million or something before we had 1 year left when he signed a new deal. I think this is one that's going to go on for a while. But they're adamant. PSG are adamant that if he doesn't sign a new contract, they will sell him. And if they're adamant like that, then unfortunately the price will just naturally go down, right?
Yeah.
Left field one for you.
That's a great shout as well, by the way.
Yeah, a left field one for you. What is the true extent of Newcastle's financial power? Because I don't think they've fully unfurled that yet. And he's not gonna go to Newcastle.
Does he start ahead of Callum Wilson though? 18 Premier League goals.
Apparently, he wants
to the league.
Has he got the tricks of Saint Maximan?
Tom, before you were born, he would have wanted to wear the number 9. He would have wanted to wear the number 9 like Malcolm McDonald back in the day, mate. But I mean, the thing is with Newcastle, I still don't think they fully opened up their financial armory.
Yeah, but isn't there a lot of
doing it?
There's a lot of reports that they've again. Look, I read so much, read so much every day, but there are a lot of reports that they've got quite a limited budget due to FFP. Now, who am I to say that's true?
Yeah,
I think for me, what's going to be scary is as they go on. That's where I think it will change. But
you'll start to get more sponsorships in coming years, and then that's what will open up.
But that's the thing is because and obviously Sean sort of broke it down before that the rules are changing over FFP now, where it's all about making your money instead of it being pumped in through sponsorship. You have to show earnings that you're making within your club. So, and Sean's really smart about it. So it's more of a Tottenham thing because he was talking about it and stuff. But he was saying that like Man City now can't just go and say, oh, well, we want a 200 million pound player, so we're just going to pump 200 million pound. You have to show it on your books that you've physically earned it through the club. It's all the FFP rules are changing because of it's stopping people just fake sponsorships and stuff.
I'll tell you what's mad. Thank you for the 4 people that just subscribed. If I can get 6 more subscribers, I would have done 25 just in this show alone. Please keep subscribing. Help me get to the 6K before I go on a stag do. Not my stag do, on a stag do on Friday. Guys, the only other thing I'll just quickly say on this is somebody said, what about Man City with Bernardo Silva going the other way plus cash? Can you imagine a world we all live in where Mbappe, Haaland, Grealish, Foden, and Alvarez are the 5 options going forward? I mean, can we live? I mean, just think about that for a minute.
The problem, the scary part about that is I can envisage it You know what I mean? I can see it happening. Normally you go, oh yeah, you're playing FIFA, Savva. But the concerning thing is that's the sort of thing Man City would go and do. It's the sort they'd go and sell a Bernardo Silva and get 80 to 90 million pound for him, and then go, do you know what? We're going to put 140 million pound down and test the
result.
PSG's resolve.
Well, let's hope that doesn't happen. Just quickly, we've got 5 more questions left. 5 more. Wayne Holland, big up. Leicester City. Let's hope your boys bounce straight back up, Wayne. You're one of the good people on YouTube. It's a question. Would you take Harvey Barnes of Spurs or Liverpool? I think he's discounting Forest. Forest signed 30 players a year, Wayne. He could go there, but
not this time, dear boy. No. Not this time.
Another one who you can't envision Tom staying in the Championship. I mean, he's a good player. Is he good? Is he Liverpool good? Is he Spurs good?
I think he's definitely Spurs good. I think he's definitely
I knew you'd say that.
Because I would also take him at Liverpool. I actually quite like Harvey Barnes. My only issue is my club has too many left wingers. We have too many players who play on the left. So unless we could move one of them to the right, whether that be Harvey Barnes or Luis Diaz or Diogo Jota or whoever, we're going to struggle to rotate properly. But I am a big fan of Harvey Barnes. I think he's a fantastic footballer. And he showed this season that he's adding that clinical side to his game, which is, I think, what he needed.
Not at our place, he didn't. He missed 2 sitters before we won 2-0. And I talked, sorry, Tom, that's just
he brings everything back to Nottingham Forest, doesn't he? Everything.
No, I'm gonna take it to Leicester City. I was on a few Leicester City shows, right? And I bigged up Harvey because I'm like Tom. I think Harvey's a really good player. But the Leicester City people I spoke to were like, he hasn't got a football brain, Dave. And they were, if you ask that question of the Leicester City massive now, Sav, I think they probably would say, the Leicester City fans wouldn't think he was good enough for Liverpool or for Tottenham. They would think he's probably good enough for, I don't know, Brentford, Forest, Palace, people like that, rather than the 2 names you mentioned. But again, it's a bit like that was said about Jadon Sancho. There's a good footballer trying to get out there. I really do think that.
Yeah, I mean, Perchy, what do you think about Harvey Barnes being an option at Tottenham?
I like Harvey Barnes. I think he's a really good player. I think he'd be nice on the left. I think Harvey Barnes, it's all about what happens at Tottenham's front three. Because I think, what Ben said is a good point. We need defenders more than anything. However,
Ben didn't say we need defenders. Ben said we need 1 million defenders. We need 1 million.
And even then, Christian Romero will make a mistake. Sorry, I had to. I was different mind. You weren't that no, but with Harvey Barnes, in the sense of it, I think it all depends. Do you know what? It actually will depend on Harry Kane here. Because realistically, if Harry Kane goes, me and you, Sav, we spoke about, we think some will probably actually move down the middle.
Yeah.
And there's a space out on that left-hand side, and you go, do you know what? Not that bad of an attack in 3. You still got the likes of Richarlison in there and stuff. So I wouldn't be too against it. However, you've just pinned that one. For me, Harvey Barnes has Aston Villa written all over it.
Yeah, agree.
And you know what? It'll be one of those ones as everyone goes, it's just Harvey Barnes, it's fine. And everyone will go, wow, what a player. He's done brilliant there.
And Perchy, he wouldn't have to move far because he lives in Nottingham.
Yeah.
So, exactly. We mentioned about Declan Rice earlier on. Tom said London, spot on. Declan Rice is obviously a family guy as well. And that was important, and being a captain at Arsenal. And so these things, these are human beings we're talking about, not automatons, not, waxwork dummies, not mannequins, right? So I think you're right. I think the point about Harvey Barnes, Villa again seems a good fit for Harvey Barnes.
It just fits. When you always go, a player just fits a club. Like he would fit in there. He'd play every single week. And they're in Europe, so he's getting European football there. So it's like, I don't know, it's just one of those. It just looked like a right fit for me.
I think the thing is as well, clubs like Villa will need to build out their squad because they are going to be going to 2 games a week. But hey, listen, we've got 7 minutes left to get through the last 4 questions. So here's an interesting one. If Man United get Qatar as new owners, the Qatari owners, will they get Kane? I think Kane would be tempted to not hand in a transfer request. I guess the thing is, I would ask you, gentlemen, is this. I don't want me and Perchy to answer this because I think Perchy and I have done the Harry Kane conversation to death. But if the Qatari owners came in, I think the first thing they would want to do is make a statement. And what better statement than England's number 9, the country's best goal scorer other than Erling Haaland, England's captain, England's top goal scorer. I mean, isn't that a statement? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what United should do. It's just whether these new owners are smarter than the current crops that they've got, or if they decide they want to go for a Højlund or a whatever. Look, Harry Kane is, in my opinion, discounting Erling Haaland, but I still think there's a very close argument, the best striker in the world. I think he's certainly the most complete, and I think he could do so much in that United team, and I think he needs to move on for his career. I don't think United should be his first choice. If Real Madrid come knocking, you go to Real Madrid and you do not look back. But if they get Mbappe, Harry Kane should be looking at United as a real big opportunity. Real big opportunity.
I mean, Dave, Harry Kane to Man United. The worrying thing for me about all of this is I look at what Man United lack more than anything, and it is a man who can play down the middle. They've tried Weghorst there. They've tried Martial there. None of it really works. You stick Harry Kane in, and by the way, I was having this debate yesterday. A United fan had seen me on Rance's channel, Rance and Bants, and Rance and I were talking about how it's an absolute no-brainer. And this Man United fan was saying to me, "We don't want him. It's a risk. He's not a guarantee for goals." And I was saying, "Look, I'm the most non-biased Spurs fan you'll ever meet. But when it comes to Harry Kane, there is zero risk. He will score goals." And this guy was saying to me, "Yeah, but when players come to Manchester, it's very different. They lose their..." And I'm like, this is the best striker in the country. How do you not think he's scoring goals in your team? Like,
Man.
Do you know what I mean, Dave?
Yeah, I think we spoke a couple 3 weeks ago, Sav, and we talked about, at the time, like Harry Kane to Real Madrid looked the most kind of logical, likely thing at the time. But if this enormous financial power goes into Old Trafford, then you could see him, and like Tom says, they could say, "Hey, tell you what, let's put the cat among the pigeons and go and buy Harry Kane." And I think Harry Kane's a fantastic player. I do. I mean, I go back to my argument. Take Harry Kane away from Tottenham Hotspur. What's left over the last few years? Not a lot, really.
No, great. No,
he's goal scoring. He's a great striker, a great goal scorer. Hell's teeth, he scored more for Tottenham than Jimmy Greaves, and I consider Greavesy to be the greatest striker this country's ever had. Right?
I think from what I've seen video wise, I agree.
So I think, and I what I love about Harry Kane is he's got dimensions to his game. But Harry Kane is like, for a guy who scores that many goals, you would imagine him being this single-minded, selfish, almost autistic guy. All he cares about is himself and scoring. But he doesn't do that. He drops deep. He brings other people into the game. He's a fulcrum. I mean, I think he's a brilliant player. If United could get him, I think that makes them into credible title contenders. He's that good. I love him. I think he's the only Tottenham player of the last few years who classifies as a true Tottenham great. I think he's a fantastic player. Absolutely.
I agree. We've got 3 minutes to get through some last questions. Josh has said, who would you bring in to replace Hojberg? As it looks like his future is uncertain. I mean, anyone. Perchie can play centre mid. I don't rate Hojberg at all. I think everyone knows that. For me, if he goes, I would get, look, we need a couple more midfielders anyway. I would get Sarr more minutes. Can we see Alfie Devine come into the first team?
I'd get rid of Hojberg and just go straight in and get Matt O'Reilly or Rio Hatate and go, do you know what? We literally
2 players that he knows.
Working midfielders that work under the system and get
Callum McGregor.
Yeah, or Callum McGregor, exactly. They've worked in the system. I'm on the same boat with the Hojberg thing. I think I don't know what he does. What he does. Yeah,
I'm always disappointed when I watch Hojberg play. Just quickly, last 2 moving on, just really quickly, because I do want to wrap up bang on midnight. Hotspur 82 says, what 3 players will replace Mbappe, Messi and Neymar at PSG? I mean,
well, they've got 2 of them, it looks like. They've got Kangin Lee and they've got Marco Asensio. It's now they just got to go get a number 9.
I reckon that they'll probably end up with something like Bernardo off the right, Marcus Thuram off the left, and
Oh yeah,
they've got a young
Thuram as well.
they've got a young French lad who they bought from like
Oh,
Ekatite. Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if they just went with him.
Is it the one that Newcastle wanted?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I would
But
like because I
they
don't
look
really
like
think
they're
there's a
buying
good
young.
striker market for them, and I think they want to go French. They want to go like very domestic.
Yeah,
from now on.
Yeah, they're certainly snapping players up.
Forgive me, I can't get excited about PSG at all. I really, they are a charisma vacuum. They really are. They're like it's like watching Coldplay. They're awful.
Do you know what though? Do you know what?
I want Slayer, Metallica, Slipknot. That's what I want. I want the Pistols, the Clash, the Damned, the Stranglers. I want Public Enemy, Wu-Tang Clan. I don't want like PSG, right? They are the most soulless club going. So the next three, I'd rather. I don't know. They could have Morgan Gibbs, White, Brian Johnson, and Taiwo. You know.
I agree with you, but I do like this new method that they're looking at. It looks like they have realised that they need to get rid of the superstars and they're actually looking to buy young players. Then I think I might have a bit more respect for them. And then the last question, this is going to be the last question, is from Phil Coys. Big up Phil, hope you're well. I said, if we failed to snap up Raya, would you take Mendy from Chelsea? I'm not even going to ask everyone else. This is a big, fat, categorical no. Mendy is one of those that has a worldie every 10 to 15 games. And then the other 14 games, you're shitting yourself what he's going to do.
Not good enough. Not good enough.
He can't be our number one, in my opinion. Look, what I would say is, I've really enjoyed tonight, guys. Thank you. It's good to have a chat about lots of different stuff. Thank you to everyone in the chat. We've managed to go through a whole chat troll-free, as far as I can see. Please, can you go over and subscribe to Tom Little? You can see this is how his YouTube channel appears, the same as his name is written there. Tom Little with a 1 instead of the I. Please subscribe to the Perchy TV. Let's get Perchy to 1,000 subscribers as quick as possible. Please continue to subscribe to myself if you haven't. I'll set a challenge because I don't know when I look in the back. When you're a YouTuber, you get a YouTube studio and it gives you every stat in the world. And what I've noticed is that 40% of my overall watch time viewers don't subscribe, which is really weird. So they spend 40% of all the watch time I have is people that watch, join in, comment, and don't subscribe, which is infuriating for me. So please, if I could ask, there's 202 people. If you haven't already, even if there's 10 of you, please smash the subscribe button. Help me get 6K.
I would have thought teenage girls in their droves would be subscribing if you could get Tom on every week, honestly.
I'm trying, but have you noticed, Dave? Tom sort of only replies in the WhatsApp chat like once every 3 months, like he's too good for us. You know what I mean? He's too good for us.
He's a love. Film star looks that lad's got. God, there's me. Like he's like the most well-tended gardener, and I'm like a piece of scrubland over here, mate, honestly.
Listen, Dave, you're to be honest, you're the most underrated person on YouTube, Dave. Without
and that's because I haven't got my own channel, and I'm never going to have one. You know what I mean? So
I would advise anybody, don't get your own YouTube channel unless you want just pure shit thrown your way every single day. Like the amount of shit that is thrown at YouTubers is unbelievable. And you know, you think that YouTubers give up their time. Like people think that YouTubers are earning millions of pounds. Like anyway, so please subscribe if you haven't already. If I could get another 8 before the evening closes, 2 more people have just done that. If I could get another 8, I'd be really happy. Other than that, I'll be back tomorrow for a Wednesday morning rant with Savva, where we answer all your questions. It tends to be a lot of Spurs fans, whatever those questions are. Who knows? Tomorrow could be the day we sign David Raya. Tomorrow could be the day that Harry Kane signs a new contract with Spurs. We don't know. It's the beauty of football. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Perchy. And here is my new exit/intro mini video to see you out. Bye-bye.